Jim, why don't we take some of this good US water and give ourselves a toast?
I think that's
I'd love to
appropriate.
toast you. There's one bottle for you and one for me. We almost got the tops off. Pours just like real water. Looks good enough to drink. I'd like to toast you, sir.
Here's to you, Phil,
To you and the Sanitation District. Thank you.
as Orange County Water District too.
Tastes very good. Well, it actually started a long time ago, even before this big project got rolling, and even before I came on the water board, and before you were on the Sand District. Back in 1975, the Water District started what's called Water Factory 21, the first effort to recycle treated wastewater, and it was done to have something to inject in the ground right out here on Ellis Avenue to keep the seawater from coming into our groundwater basin. Unfortunately, the top couple layers of our underground aquifers linked to the ocean. So back in the 60s, when the population was booming, we still had agricultural, they pumped the basin down so far, seawater came in 4, 5, 6 miles. Knocked out all the wells in Newport Beach, knocked out all the ones in South Huntington Beach, and was creeping farther and farther into the basin. So our predecessors decided they had to get some reliable water supply that would always be there to inject into a series of injection wells to keep the seawater back, and that was started in 1975. And the nice sanitation district at the time gave us the treated wastewater we needed free. And that's been a big thing. A lot of wastewater treaters around the world, they actually charge people that want to recycle their treated wastewater.
They don't want to wear the regional hat, do they?
No. But you provided at that time 10 MGD of your secondary treated water, brought it over here, and they purified it and used that to inject in the groundwater wells to keep the seawater out. The reason they chose that locally recycled water is it's 100% dependable. You know, the imported water is great and it's almost always there, but once in a while it goes away. And we couldn't take that chance with the seawater intrusion barrier. So that's when it began. And that Water Factory 21 plugged along quite a while. But then after I came on my board in '81, in the late '80s, we suddenly realized that we needed more water for the injection barrier because the population had grown so much. The water basin goes up and down with the seasons, and because of that, the seawater can sneak in more often. So we planned to build a bigger Water Factory 21 from, say, 15 MGD up to about 30, 35. And we talked to your folks about having enough treated wastewater to do that. And that led you to some discussions on how to make more treated wastewater,
Well,
which was a little bit controversial.
And we have a pipe that goes out in the ocean for 5 miles.
That's right.
That may have needed to be
Replaced or duplicated.
Yeah, duplicated. So, you know, we benefited from the relationship just like the Water District did.
You paid for, well, we got about $90 million in federal and state grants. So you put in almost $200 million of money you would have spent on the ocean outfall to help pay the capital cost for the first phase.
Okay.
And we put in the rest of it, and of course we operated. But that turned out to be an amazing project because if we hadn't have talked about our mutual needs and realized we could always use more water, but we didn't want to spend money that we didn't have to spend. But you had to plan to replace that outfall. So making our project bigger, we could take the water from your overflow times and have more recycled water to use to keep our basin full.
Yeah, it was beautiful. If we didn't have this water, you know, I really don't know what we'd do. We'd have to import more and be more expensive.
More rationing. And you know, Orange County Water District covers this big groundwater basin in the central and northern part of the county, and 2.4 million people live on top of it. By far the majority of the Orange County population.
Right.
And they get right now 75% of their drinking water and other water comes from the ground. So it's a tremendous value to the people and the businesses of Orange County.
Yeah, and there's always challenges like this saltwater intrusion. You know, that's a problem that we're dealing with, but it hasn't gone away.
Oh, no,
We've
it's
got
all-
to address that.
As long as the
all
ocean's
time.
there, it'll be a threat.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll be a threat. Well, you know, Jim, this project has meant a lot to me for many years, and you too, but I'm really proud that we've done it. I think this is something that's an example of how two big government districts can actually work together and do something that benefits both, and particularly benefits all the people we serve.
Absolutely.
It's been a tremendous
and,
example, and I'm
and
very,
more
very proud
public
of it.
agencies ought to partner up and do this kind of
I
thing.
agree.
It's going to save money for all the constituents.
I've always been just very annoyed by the fact that most public agencies don't do it. They guard their own little boundaries and won't even hardly talk to people outside of them. But if they work together, amazing things can happen.
Yeah.
And I think this project is a world-class example of that.
Especially when before you get into a project, if you get the people in the county educated, they've got buy-in right away.
Yeah.
So it just kind of adds to the flow.
Yeah, I think the people in our county actually love the project too now.
Yeah.
More and more of them know about it, and the support's still there, and I think they feel the benefit every time they open their faucet and pour some water out.
But you know, you can tell it when we have meetings of the Groundwater Replenishment Board, or when sometimes we'll have joint meetings. You can just tell there's a sense of pride and
Absolutely.
accomplishment from these people, and the staff too. The staff, they're totally dedicated to.
It is a remarkable success story in government. I wish there were more like it.
It'd be nice if the state got run like this.